What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the No Cap Space. I'm Tyler, joined by Greer, Andrew, and Shawnee, and today we bring you the No Cap Space bracket breakdown. We did our live, we had our but today we've sat down, we've digested just a little bit to kind of get some matchups, to get our final fours, and we're diving into them here today. Let's just dive right into this, y'all, because I'm excited to hear. I want to know. I'm the only one that has seen everybody's Final Fours. So everyone else, no idea what the other people have put here. I'm the only one. So this is gonna be fun. Andrew, let's start off with you and your messy matchups here, because you got a couple 6 and 11 matchups.
Well, I was gonna say, was your Final Four question, who of you was stupid enough to not put South Carolina in?
No, I will say, spoiler, that everybody has South Carolina.
Everyone put South Carolina.
Everyone,
I do two brackets every year. I do a head bracket and a heart bracket. My heart bracket put Oregon State.
Oh, brother!
But the head bracket, the one with the brain in it, put South Carolina because I know better. Okay, messy matchups.
Yes.
Tennessee Green Bay is absolutely horrifying to me. Solely because Green Bay has a legit tournament resume. Like the way a power conference team would have a tournament resume, they have a tournament resume. They played Maryland to the very end. They beat Washington State. They beat Creighton. And both of those teams do have a degree of balance where they have they have dynamic guards, and they have balance kind of up and down their rosters. And Green Bay beat them all the same. They are a very disciplined team. They have the most affable, grumpy head coach in basketball in Kevin Borseth. The Horizon League is not as bad as one might think among mid-majors. Them and Cleveland State, they kind of go back and forth every single year. And to be honest, man, I don't know how you come back from the Camila Cardoso 3. I think you can try to mentally readjust and try to get back to center after something like that happened. But dog, we saw Kelly Harper
brutal
after the shot went
brutal.
In. Like the amazing thing about sports is it's a peek into psychology sometimes. And like you didn't get a peek. Like the whole curtain opened and you just looked right into Kelly Harper's id. And it was dark. It was dark in there. All right. So I don't know necessarily how you turn around from that and reevaluate and readjust and tell your team there's still something that can be done here. Like plays like that they don't break teams. Those types of plays break programs.
Oh my God! What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
All I'm trying to say here is, I've seen a lot of collegiate sports, and I've seen it.
I remember the shots, all of them.
I watch Johnny earmuffs. We watch Miami, Ohio State in the BCS. Like we've seen situations. I'll do it for the Oregon fans. We saw Dyer is down. Like we've seen these types of plays that move programs from one place into another. And I feel like at least for this year, it would not shock me if you can't get it back. And Green Bay, a disciplined, solid team, does it to you right there. The other mess. And I was unsure about this one, but it's talent versus talent here with Texas A&M, Nebraska. A&M's got all the talent in the world. You got India Rogers, you got Aisha Coulibaly. Like this is you have Janiyah Barker. This is a three-headed monster of a Texas A&M team that, frankly, should be a 24-8 type team. If anything, I think these should be flipped if we were logically projecting at the beginning of the year. I think they have all the talent. They have the athletic guards to cover Nebraska's guards. I think that, Barker or even our Miss Mama Slices, or Lauren Ware, Miss Orange Slices, as we like to call her in Arizona. I think she sizes up with Alexis Markowski. And so if there is kind of the competitive high major versus high major that we were hoping for here, I think this is going to be the matchup that does that. So I think that's going to be messy because I could see that going either way. Tennessee's could be really messy because there's a lot of program psychology hinging on that game.
You just diagnosed them.
I got the pen and everything.
I know he was really with it. Kelly Harper's on the couch laying down. Like
I'm petty. I'm writing it down.
Oh, I love it. No, Tennessee has been a team I've been like. I literally went from I can't decide if they're gonna get eliminated first round or make it to the Sweet 16. Genuinely, like that is I can't figure it out. That is where I'm at with it. But Shawnee, you have a couple matchups here. Let's start off with LSU Louisville because the HVL Bowl.
Well, no, let's back up and say that the Miami Hurricanes were cheated. Terry Porter made a terrible call after the game, and it changed the trajectory of our program. So we were cheated. Ohio State owes us our championship. Anyway, so I think Louisville will get past Middle Tennessee just off of pure hate. Like the bulletin board materials there, Jeff Walsh is going to get his golden clipboard. He's going to come down in his slide, pumped, ready to go. And they're going to get past Middle Tennessee. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I'm going to say the hate is going to push them through. And they're like, nah, we got to get a shot at Haley Van Lith. Now, I think LSU has too much firepower for Louisville, and in the end, they'll outlast them. But it's like that makes it extra hilarious because it's like it's probably going to be a Flage game or it's probably going to be an Anissa Morrow game. It's going to have nothing to do with Haley Van Lith, in my opinion. I think she's going to she's going to coast to her usual 12-3, hit a couple shots. It is going to be all good, but they'll get the win and she'll get to chat. And I love that. Like, honestly, I'm sorry, y'all. I tweeted this. Y'all can't make me hate Haley Van Lith. She says the words that don't need to be said. She's not afraid of it. She looks adversity in the eyes, and if there is none, she will make some from scratch. Because there's no reason for her to be taking shots at Louisville. Like, okay. So I'm really excited about that matchup because, again, she's just so shameless. She's going to write the check, account on overdraft. She's still writing the check. I love it. I love it. I need all of it. Y'all come back to me if you want, since we'll be talking Final Four because I think everybody kind of sees.
You have some Final Four matchups specifically with SoCal, not USC. You wanted me to put SoCal.
Is that Pac-12 supremacy? I see.
It's a lot of it. A whole lot of
Pac supremacy.
I lost sleep watching the Pac. At this part, it's a part of me now.
It is.
It is. We've been doing this for years. So
fallacy.
You said they're going out with a bang. That's.
You said I sucked all this time. They're not about to get bailed out in the second round now.
And then look, they have an out because if they let me down, it's like, well, there's no more conference to believe in. Who cares? This is it.
Yeah, I know that had to hit Andrew a little bit right here. Let's.
Look at him.
Yeah.
I can get into it, yo. Well,
we'll hit on that in your Final Four since this is your Final Four.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, USC Stanford, always a good matchup. I've been there for both. I've watched them build ginormous leads and have me getting tweets ready about, having one loss on the season. It's okay. Moral victory. And then we walk them down. Sometimes it was in regulation. Sometimes it's in overtime, but we walk them down. I think this year would be a little different because, you're going to get 60 from Cam Brink and Kiki. We've been talking about where does the other production come from, particularly at the guard play. Now, USC, a little more balanced, but, if Camilla and Cam kind of cancel each other out, then it becomes like I think USC just has more firepower. So I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as the previous games. Like, I still think it'll be a good game, but I don't think it'll be like, oh, they jump out to this huge lead and I think Tara will tuck her chain in. This game, she's off the strength of PTSD. But I think that could be a good one just based off the history of them. SoCal and UCLA.
Yeah, you want to talk about history? Just this season alone, the history of this.
Exactly. We had the great Rhonda Whitman on here. On here talking mad smack. So she gets to talk to Noelle again. Like we get to see, we get to see that again. So I love it. So SoCal, I want to see it.
I'm with it. Another Battle of LA would be hilarious and incredibly messy. Like that might be the messiest matchup that you could possibly get, especially in the Final Four. Come on now. So one thing that sparked in my brain when you talked about Haley Van Lith cashing checks and continuing to write them. A check that I'm surprised was even put in motion was Mark Kellogg from West Virginia. Because why would you do this? He said, for anybody that missed it, at the selection show for West Virginia, their little get together, he said that they are going to beat Princeton and then, I quote, send Caitlin Clark packing. And I said it with more conviction than he did, but
way more.
And Shawnee, I saw your tweets about this. I could not have been less motivated or less believed. I could not. No, absolutely not. So if this happens, I was actually very excited to see this matchup potentially because I think JJ Quinterly and the defense of West Virginia would be a really, really just interesting style clash against Iowa. Now, Caitlin might go for 70 because what are you doing? Why would you do this? It doesn't make any sense to me in the slightest. But because Shawnee, I think you tweeted whatever the opposite of running through a wall is what this speech made me want to do. And that was
the players. Their reaction.
They were like,
was like, why?
Why are you doing this?
Why would you put
look, man, maybe you think you can.
Yeah.
Just that's our thing.
And saying it publicly? It's one thing if it's in the locker room, okay, but publicly now we got receipts, and I love receipts. So this is one I want to see, and West Virginia has to get past Princeton first, which this
is bulletin for Carla.
Yes.
This is Carla Berube bulletin. You have created a 2-ended bulletin board material bit. Mm-hmm. You said Princeton's not even worthy of talking about.
2 for the price of 1, and it wasn't even good. We're gonna
go beat Caitlin. If I were your players, I'd be sick. I got not 1, but I got 2 of these now.
Yeah.
And you.
Okay,
and
so
you
Gino's advocate.
Gino's advocate.
If you're gonna do this, you got to do this like the Dan Lanning versus Colorado, where you're gonna win.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yes, you do the play. They're playing for clicks. We're playing for wins. When you know good and well, you have a talent disparity, and there's no situation in which you lose this goddamn game.
Or Jay Norvell, we want some attention too. Don't forget about us. Colorado State coming into Colorado. He generated some clicks, generated some headlines. It was actually a really good game. I just don't think he has the showmanship to carry that
at all. No.
And then we're gonna send Caitlin packing. What?
Nah, yeah.
Maybe send her back into the Sweet 16.
Yeah, send her to take a nap. You walking Zoloft ad. What are you doing?
It's like The Simpsons where they're like, no, he's saying boo earns.
Yeah, so I could not have been less moved from that, but now I hope it happens just off the strength of. Now I just want to see it, whether it be the jokes from a blowout or maybe even what did he know?
Yeah.
But I'm excited regardless. But Greer, let's get into yours. You have 2 here as well. One being Tennessee, a little bit further down the line than what Andrew had.
So I do have Tennessee potentially making the Sweet 16, right? And beating NC State. I just think Rakia Jackson is just ready for just to put every single murmur to bed and to show that she is absolutely pro ready. And I think she's just going to have a great performance. I know Shawnee or Andrew, you touched on the Cardoso shot and the psychology of their team right now, but I don't know. I think there's a lot to take away from that South Carolina game. Where you saw the moms in the stands celebrating. It can't be the end for them. Round 1 can't be the end for them. So I'm excited to see what Rakia is going to do on the massive stage. And I think they're battle tested. They haven't won a lot of those battles, but there's no time like the present.
They're limping
They
to the
participated.
They were there.
They took some licks.
And then the 12 seed, right? They're playing in that first 4 game in Vanderbilt and Columbia. Columbia, I think they did win the regular season title in the Ivy League, and then Vanderbilt, I think, shocked a lot of people with how they performed in the SEC this year. They played a decent non-con schedule, but overall, I just haven't been impressed by Baylor at all this season. At no point during the season have I been impressed by Baylor, and I think. I don't know that they have like a go-to player, their identity is just like very, very questionable to me at this stage of the season. And I don't think that's a question I should have right now. And so that's why I'm choosing whoever comes out of that 12 matchup between Vanderbilt and Columbia to ultimately beat Baylor in the first round.
Yeah.
Is Trey Edwards still at Baylor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trey Edwards' legacy game. You spoken into existence. Watch this.
She's
this.
Their leading scorer right now.
Yeah. It's been a very,
speaking of the shot.
Yeah, it's been a very like balanced scoring for Baylor, but I don't think in the good way. Not in like the South Carolina good way of balance, where it's just that they don't really have that go-to person, and I completely agree, like, as the Big 12 guy, I guess, like the Baylor identity, it hasn't come. They've struggled with size a lot. That's like they've had like consistent struggles that they've gone against while also not being able to really formulate that identity, and that's not a great mix for me.
Do they feel a little Utah-ish? Like maybe like Utah this year, Utah last year, where it feels like they run a very motion 3-point oriented offense without one central, like big, they can play 5 out. Like they give me that feeling. You're a Big 12 guy. Like, do you sense that with them?
I understand. Like, I can see where the comparison would lie and like the similarities. It doesn't flow as well for me. Like it just doesn't, like it's not as seamless as what Utah was or has kind of been at points in this year. I think that's where, but I think the concept is there that is similar. So I definitely understand like the comparison. It's just, I feel like Utah has been in another tier of doing it with the way that they've been able to accomplish it. So, but I definitely think the comparison is there and trying to do that. But no, I'm excited for this matchup though. I'm excited for Vanderbilt Columbia off the strength of they really gave her an SEC team right after she was talking about it. So like we're getting messed like right from the jump in this tournament.
Your moment, Megan.
This is it. This is it. You asked for it, you received it, and the message was heard loud and clear. So I'm excited for that one. But let's dive into some Final Fours here. Andrew, bat and lead off with the Final Four. South Carolina, Stanford, Iowa, and USC. Andrew, break it down for us here.
Why did you write it like that?
What?
What do you mean?
South Carolina and USC. What are you doing? What are you doing?
That's off by a shade. There's
a lot of red and
a lot of red and a lot of yellow. Honestly,
and the USC is
that's USC and South Carolina. All right, I see you. Go
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Find
it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thoughts. As much as I feel that Oregon State can give South Carolina trouble, I'm hesitant to go all the way and say our beloved Beavlet can beat South Carolina. I don't quite see it yet. We talk about youth versus youth, and there's veteran guards on this Oregon State team, but this is the first NCAA tournament for Reagan Beers and Tamia Gardner, Perova, and a couple of the other team players that are really essential key cogs of this group. So I'm going to have to say South Carolina. Notre Dame, my hot take is I actually think we could end up with the Coach O special, and with no Kylie Watson in the lineup, Ole Miss could mess around and do something in Sweet 16 to get there and upset the 2 seed. Stanford over Texas, it just feels tailor-made for Stanford here. I think that they match a weakness of NC State's, and I don't trust Westmore ever past the Sweet 16. Them and Texas have seen each other enough that I feel like Texas's style of play and, grind you down and get big and play the way Vic plays is kind of the way Stanford is built to play. So I think this group probably has that. I would also not be surprised if we saw the Chloe Clardy Courtney Ogden, more minute coming out party nationally. And then on the other side of the bracket, everyone seems to have picked against Iowa. I want to pick against Iowa, but I don't have that because there's this discussion of, they're not going to be able to handle bigs. Stolke's not going to be able to handle bigs. They don't have a true big on this team. They split with Kansas State. They split with Nebraska. Like, the teams that have dominant bigs on their rosters, they've lost and won. They beat Virginia Tech with Liz Kitley in the lineup. Like, this team is clearly capable of it. You just need Caitlin Clark heroics. And frankly, I don't see a situation in which we don't get that damn near every game. I mean, I've always talked my talk about the Big Ten and the level of defense that is played and the athleticism of the guards that is at a disparity to other conferences. I just think she's done it this year in a way that is very clear that she's got it. So Iowa is there until they're not. I think that I just don't see anyone beating them. I got UConn and USC in the Elite Eight. I think UConn actually is going to mess around and do the dead cat bounce and have Gino come out here and say, y'all forgot who I am. I am still inevitable. Shocking Ohio State team that's got a lot of really good veteran talent, but I feel like the cards are set here for the Women of Troy resurgence, for the Juju Watkins coming out party. And, we talk about veteran teams in this tournament. Veteran players are also important, and that's what USC has beyond Juju. They've got Rhea Marshall. They've got Mackenzie Forbes. They've got Caitlin Davis and Caleb Padilla. These are grad transfers, 5- and 6-year players. Even if they were at different schools before they got here, they've played plenty of ball to know moments when they see them. And, in the Pac-12 final, that's what we saw. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put USC there. 2 Pac-12 teams in the Final Four. Please get me one in the championship for the love of God, for the love of all of us, so we don't need to do this narrative thing again. And then maybe we will see an end to our Conference of Champions in the right way. That Caitlin Juju matchup, though, I'm speaking that into existence.
Oh man, that would be.
I need water.
That'd be so fun. What your championship game? Who do you have in that? Who do you have winning it?
South Carolina, Iowa. I got South Carolina winning.
Oh, God,
initially, I had Iowa. I switched up. I just that front court for South Carolina, taking Watkins off the bench. I don't see, if you're Iowa, that's a situation where I don't know if Hannah Stuelke's enough there for you. Yeah,
got it. All right. I mean, I can get with all of that, frankly. Next up, Shawnee, we heard your Final Four a little bit earlier. Do you have? We talked about the matchups here with Southern Cal. By the way, I made sure. For your graphic, I put USC. I put Southern Cal. You're welcome. Any kind of additional thoughts here? Like you said, we talked kind of about the matchups, but what about UCLA specifically? Let's dive into them that you feel like they can come out of that region from hell, frankly.
So honestly, I was just vibing, and then I looked up and I had 3 Pac-12 teams in my Final Four, and I was like,
Yes.
But it's
yes. Yes.
And it is maybe a little bit of the bias having watched so much of it, but each conference had a solid semifinals and finals, but the Pac-12 was on go from round 1. So I'm that going through that and then going through the conference play, I just think they're the more battle tested conference. And so it's going to, prepare them for whatever they're going to see. And just all 4 of these teams to me have had some sort of thing to overcome, USC, it's youth, but every game they figure it out. We don't know how they're going to do it, but they figure it out. UCLA, they had the pieces. Corey Close finally got people healthy and they just figure it out. Stanford, we've talked about, the guard playing the question marks here and there, but they've still figured it out. Southern Cal, it's just if Juju's having a bad game, they figure it out. So I got 4 teams that to me have been consistently just figuring it out all season long. USC undefeated. They have, a pretty solid walk to the Final Four. Stanford thought it was an easier bracket. And then again, Southern Cal, I think it's the legend of Juju. I believe in the legend of Juju. I'm sorry. I don't see her shrinking up with the bright lights. I think this is her time to really solidify and stamp this freshman year. And then UCLA, who was that? I think it LSU. I think LSU, man, I'm sorry, this is when like not scheduling heavy battles throughout the year is going to catch up with them. And that's where it came down to me. Like, UCLA lost some close ones. They lost an ugly one. But it's like they were still in it with a very, very tough team in a tough conference and a tough grind. LSU has not had that. So that's what it came down for me.
Yeah, I mean that's valid, and
these are all very good takes.
Yeah,
I'm like
I said, I could be sold on any of these Final Fours, and when it comes to LSU, I see you, I hear you. They're still in my Final Four.
I see you, I hear you.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing it. I got LSU.
Tyler, hold on. That was like venture capital in 2020. I see you. I hear you. I do not give a fuck.
I
Put up
do
the
not
black
care.
square box. Put up the black square.
I do not care.
Make it a quote. Make it a quote.
Let me tell you right now, Shawnee, those points you just made sound awfully familiar to last year.
Where is Kendall Jenner with my Pepsi can?
So let's start off with LSU here, because we're talking about some coming out parties. I think that I have several here in my Final Four. I think Anissa Morrow, now is your time. I like, obviously she's been great throughout this season. I'm ready for Anissa Morrow to make her name, to stamp herself on the national stage here. That is something that I've been waiting for. Like, the real ones have been known, but now it's time for the world to know, with all the eyes on there, that Anissa Morrow is one of them ones. I thought Flau'jae Johnson, the end of her season, was phenomenal. She was able to level it up, and that's major when you have the guard play, obviously across the board. Like, you need that level of guard play. So they have the star bigs. I haven't talked about Michaela Williams, like, and what she's able to do. Another freshman that I feel like has kind of started to fly under the radar a little bit. And
yeah, I think it's just because she missed the conference
tournament. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And but the thing is that I don't want us to start sleeping on what Michaela Williams can do. And she showed up, and she's been a go-to in bigger moments already for LSU throughout this season. So I completely understand the argument of not being battle tested and everything. I just frankly believe in Anissa Morrow. And obviously we've seen what Angel Reese has been able to contribute production-wise, but Anissa Morrow is the key piece here for me that sets LSU apart from UCLA, that can set them apart from an Iowa. Because I understand Andrew's point about feeling like Stokey can be enough until the Final Four. I don't think that Stokey can be enough against Angel Reese and Anissa Morrow if Anissa Morrow shows up the way that I think and know that she can. With Ohio State, kind of similar in the sense that I think that I'm betting on Cody McMahon. I am. I'm doing it. Sue me. What we've been able to see there was times that it's fallen off for Cody McMahon at different points. It took her a while to get going this season. Big Ten play, especially the back half of Big Ten play, she started doing her thing. And especially in that game against Iowa, that the world kind of learned about Cody McMahon if they were asleep to it before. I'm betting on that, Cody McMahon, and I'm betting on defense and guard play here for Ohio State, because there's not really a direct hole, I feel, to put in this Ohio State team if Cody McMahon is being the offensive player that she is capable of being. So I'm nervous. Ohio State was my preseason national champion. That was my pick coming into this season. So it was a slow build, but we're here. A number 2 seed, regular season Big Ten champions. I'm betting on Cody McMahon here to reach, kind of get back into that second half of conference form that we were able to see from her. And then I have Texas. And here's the thing for me is that Cameron Brink and Kiki Iriafen are a ridiculous duo. They have an incredibly favorable path to the Elite Eight. And I it's hard for me to honestly argue against a duo of that caliber. It is. But for me, the biggest thing that I have here, and you guys talked about it, was the guard play. Because I'm also, in similar light to Anissa Morrow and Cody McMahon, I'm betting on Madison Booker. Because what is Stanford going to do? And when you think, and the other guards too, the Shays of Texas, Shaylee Gonzalez and Shay Hawley, are defensive forces. My worry is, from a Stanford perspective, how do you even get the ball to your duo? Let alone, and then Texas has the size. I think it's really Texas, South Carolina. Not that the bigs on Texas are as talented, but just size-wise, they can match up. And you build that with the defense. You have the size, you have the perimeter play, and I just don't know how you guard Madison Booker if you're Stanford. I don't know the answer to that. So that's why, for me, I got Texas. And I think that defense will travel, and it's a matter of if Madison Booker can live up to the moment, and nothing so far has told me otherwise with her play so far this season. So I'm betting on some players that maybe haven't really done it on this stage. Like obviously Ohio State bowed out early last year. Madison Booker, a freshman, Anissa Morrow, really kind of getting this first opportunity to go and really compete in March Madness. So these are players that haven't done it before. I'm putting my money on them. And just off the strength of what we've been able to see in the regular season. And then obviously South Carolina, they speak for themselves on that. And for me, I do have South Carolina and Ohio State in my championship game with South Carolina winning. That is, I know, bold take to have South Carolina winning, but yes.
Super Bowl.
Back to mine, I got USC versus USC with USC winning.
Okay,
she's good no matter what.
No. You can't. No, hold on. You can't have Southern Cal on here and then try and do the USC.
I put USC and USC. Well, on the bracket,
brother,
it was listed as USC versus USC in my finals, and I have USC. Well, yes, for my Final Four. In my championship matchup on my bracket, it says USC versus USC, and I have USC winning.
Okay, whatever you say.
What do you want me to do? Blame ESPN.
Whatever you say. But yeah, that's like I said, I know I could honestly, if I was just completely off on this Final Four, I wouldn't be shocked. Just in the sense of like the manner of the teams that I'm kind of betting on, but I'm rocking with it. I've locked it in. But Greer,
I'm gonna say you made a convincing argument because I was like, what's a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas when you put Texas in your Final Four? But I feel you.
See, we're here with it. Greer,
I'm also here with you a lot.
Yeah.
And then not in other ways.
And then what is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas?
I'm never not picking us.
Wait, well, I don't want to. I don't want to. Let's just get it out there. What's your championship game and who's winning?
Come on now. We're avenging that February 12th loss in Columbia, South Carolina.
Shameless.
I think my point total was like 137, something like that.
So you have
talk to me how that's going to be done because
Carolina in the national championship game.
I don't know. Sean.
Wait. Hold on, because y'all got thumped without Camilla. So now you're saying you're going to avenge the team now with Camilla?
I'm telling you, I believe in the magic of Paige Becker. I know it's going to take a Herculean effort, but it's time. It's time for America and the rest of the world to see what I have seen and been seeing with Paige Beckers. And I'm never not gonna, but getting Aaliyah back, I think she's also going to be incredibly hungry, just our entire senior class. And, the freshmen, they don't know what they don't know. And they've had the opportunity all season long to contribute in different ways, in different moments, and different opportunities. But just to back up, LSU, I'm with you. Like I think Anissa Morrow is probably the most unheralded player in women's college basketball. Just what she does night in and night out for the LSU Tigers, and the transition to a high D1 was seamless. It was seamless. She got right to it, and love that for her. And I just think LSU, they just know how to meet the moment. Whether win, loss, or draw. You know what I mean? Like they're just always gonna give you. They do meet the moment. They do. They absolutely do. And I just Albany, that second regional in Albany is it's a gauntlet. But I just think LSU is they just have the firepower. They have 4 legit players who could say like, I just had the game of my life, or I did enough to get us over the hump.
And then you leave off? You said 4 players. Are you leaving Haley Van Lith off of that list?
I am. I absolutely am. Because Michaela was my 4th player. Yeah. And then Texas, for all of the reasons Tyler outlined, right? Madison Booker, I just think presents the biggest matchup challenge that Stanford has probably seen since Juju scored 51 points. And if you're following that recipe but also playing stifling D like Texas is known to do, I just don't see how Stanford makes it past Texas. And then South Carolina. Yeah, like, what can I say? I mean, Oregon State, I enjoyed watching them all season long on Pac-12 After Dark and all of that, but they're a super young team. Reagan Beers and Tamia Gardner are like sizable post players, but this is not Ashland's first rodeo. This is far from Camilla's first rodeo. And I just think that they're like a Swiss Army knife any night. Breezy Hall, Pow Pow, Malaysia, like any night. It's just like pick your poison kind of, and the poison kills. Like, so
it kills everybody but UConn in the national championship.
Everybody but.
Oh yeah, I have the antidote. Okay. For a non-religious, for a non-religious person, you got faith the size of a mustard seed, my good sis. See.
Oh, that's funny. But no, I couldn't believe, honestly. I could believe when I saw UConn on your list. I wasn't surprised, but I was a little surprised, But I'm with it. You're rocking with your squad. I can respect that.
But no, I mean, going back, Ohio State, I think we have the ball handlers now to
break the press,
minimize their press, right? The effectiveness of their press. I think USC, I believe that's who I had us beating in the Elite Eight to reach the Final Four, USC. And I like Aaliyah Edwards versus Rhea. I do. Juju and Paige is absolutely like, I wish I could be there at the half court line watching that game. Primetime TV, but I just think, Paige has been to a Final Four before, and just hearing her talk about this season and how she would have gave anything to just be able to play last year, and I just don't think she's gonna let a moment like this pass her by.
There you go. Those are our Final Four picks from here in the No Cap Space. The good thing is, if you have picks to make of your own, you can do that because we have our ESPN bracket challenge down below in the description. And when I tell y'all we are just getting started with this tournament coverage, I mean it, because we're going to have videos dropping, I think, every day in the build-up to the start of the NCAA tournament. So make sure you stay tapped in across the board because we got our picks. We got some OGs making picks. We got some newbies making picks. So be on the lookout. So make sure you like and subscribe here. You click the bell, get notified for everything. The Twitter, the Substack, the playback, everything is down below in the description. So make sure you stay tapped in with the No Cap Space.